Going back to the course listing, starting with week 2, you'll see that we get into the nitty-gritty. If you click on week 2, Classical Theory and Criticism, we're talking about Greek and Roman aesthetic theories. It always tells you exactly what we're reading, what we're covering for that day, the page numbers, and if you've got your Norton Anthology already, you know that the pages are very, very thin, and the print is very, very tiny. So pages 41 to 83, it's quite a lot of reading. And that's just for Plato. And then we're reading Aristotle. There are 2 sections there. And then Horace, Ars Poetica, we're reading that as well. There's a lecture bit that you can read it. It's usually just some background information or something helpful for that particular week. Next on the list, we have your first discussion post for week 2, and in that you should have an outline of all the material that we've read. Your second discussion post is your application paper. That's where you take one aspect of the theories that we've read and you apply it to a creative work. After you've gotten feedback from a couple of people in the form of responses and their secondary posts to your document, then you may find it helpful to revise your paper, clarify some areas and so on, and then resubmit a combined document to turn it in. This will automatically take you to that to the turn it in page. You don't need to add a course or anything like that for turn it in. It'll all be automatic. That one document that you upload, of course, will be checked for plagiarism and similarity, and that is what I'm going to do for grading on content. I pay attention to exactly what your theory was, how well you expressed it, and so on. Each week there's a discussion forum for what questions do you have. I check that all the time. If there's something that you don't understand about one of the readings, definitely put that up there. Other people as well as myself will be able to respond, and we can all learn and experience these texts together. So anything that you're unclear of, and some of these will get progressively more complicated, and things might be a little muddy for you. If that's the case, post something here on what questions, and we'll talk about it. And of course, if you ever have problems or questions with the reading, give me a call, shoot me an email. For the second week, I've already uploaded a scanned document of the Norton readings that we're going to be covering, and that is in case you're a little delayed in getting your textbook. I think that is very, very important for you to read ahead. Ideally, in week 1, after you've watched this video, you're going to start reading these materials for week 2. Take notes, highlight them if you're able to, outline as you go. Sometimes that's very helpful. We'll take a look at that in just a moment. And of course, that progresses each week. So the second week we're covering classical theory and criticism. The third week we're into medieval times. Week 4 we're covering the Enlightenment. Week 5 Romantic theory. Week 6 Victorian theory and criticism. In week 7 we're talking about the American 19th century. Then after week 7 we get into some specific theoretical approaches such as formalism and then structuralism and semiotics. You'll see whenever we're covering semiotics that a lot of the work of that goes all the way back to St. Augustine, which we'll cover in week 3. His work on signs, we'll see that influencing some of these later structuralist and semioticians, including Jacques Lacan and others. Race and ethnicity studies in week 10, psychoanalytic theory in week 11, Marxism and the Frankfurt School in week 12, feminist literary theory in week 13, and post-colonial studies in week 14. Okay, so just to recap briefly, obviously you may have already seen this is a reading intensive course, so do not get behind. If at all possible, try to be a week ahead. If something's due on a Wednesday night, try to have it done by Tuesday night. If something's due on a Saturday, try to have it done on a Friday. Try to be ahead when at all possible. For your discussion forums, like in week 2, you're going to week 2 discussion 1, you're uploading your outline. You can write it in Word and then copy and paste. That's usually the best thing. Sometimes the format might look a little wonky, but you can revise that as needed. Basically, show me that you've read, that outline those theories the best that you can, in as much detail as possible, because that's going to benefit you in the long run. Whenever I grade that, I'm looking for A, did you do all the readings? B, did you write enough about them? Do I have a very clear idea that you've actually done the readings and you understand what the theories are? Most importantly, it's your feedback on other peers. I look for this as sort of a participation grade. If you've participated and you've given good constructive feedback to other people, then you'll get higher marks than if you don't. I highly recommend that you go back in the writing helps section and the course documents folder and take a look at the discussion rubric. That's going to be very beneficial for you. Week 2, the application paper is the same thing. It's mostly a participation grade. Have you written the paper? Have you talked with your peers about it? Then when I grade the combined assignment, that follows a rubric as well, where I'm looking for the clarity and completeness of your outline and the clarity and completeness of your application paper. With that in mind, I would like to find, wherever I put them here, your in week 1, the course introduction. Obviously, you have your introductory discussion that you need to do, any questions that you have about the course, and I have 3 documents: a sample poor combined document, a sample excellent combined document, and a second poor document. I want to look at the excellent document first.